generation or faster than sound. It's not that. It is the names that they associate with the drones. The last one they launched, or within the last time, listen at a drone named Khaybar. Khaybar. This is a fortress that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took, and that's where he was poisoned. This is what they are sending to the state of Israel, and there's no stopping it. The only way is that Israel realizes its mistake and it stops bombing other nations. In 77 years, Israel has bombed Iran. And this is the third time they bombed, and this is the reason why they're retaliating. Israel has bombed Lebanon. Israel has bombed Syria. Israel has bombed the Palestinians. Where does it stop? And I must be forgetting a few.
Can we call them the aggressor?
They're definitely the aggressor. With the United States, don't leave them out. With the United States administrations, those who are controlled by the Zionists, they are responsible because they start these wars so they can have money. They have to have money for their weaponry to keep the business going.
But then, if the war justified, like Iran, Israel, and Iran, is it justified?
Let me explain a few things about war. The art of war states that war should be the last result after everything else fails, because there are no winners in war. If you go into a place and you win over them, you still are responsible by international law to see that they are back on their feet, civilians. So let's think about it for a minute. It's justified because we have a rule in the States, and I'm going to close it out right now. The rule in the States is you never ever start a war. You never ever start a fight. But if you have to be drawn into a fight, if you are in a fight, after you did not start it, you better finish it. And that's what Iran is doing, and they have every right to do it. I'm sorry. The Islamic Republic of Iran is definitely in the right, and the aggressors are in the wrong.
So the war is just overwhelming. The skies is just a bloom, flashy, just dropping.
No, but don't worry. Israel has the air superiority. Just go over there and stop them. I mean, correction. You have so many planes over there. Just bomb wherever you want to bomb to stop the missiles from coming. It should be simple, unless you don't have complete superiority.
But in 2 weeks back, we see to receive that Iranian spies are using what we call Israeli spy to get what we call their military documents.
My friend, let me cut you off right there. And I don't mean to do that, but I have to. Spying is probably one of the best tools of military, or best tools of war conflict. That goes all the way. They all have spies. All right, Israel is not getting away with its Mossad or anybody else, it's Shin Bet or whoever. It does not matter. Mm-hmm. What I want to explain to you is this: the people have to support you. Do you see the Israelis in the bunkers? They're not supporting that. They're not able to take a shower. They're not able to go to the beach. They're not able to walk their pets. They're not having that.
So, meaning there is no leisure, also free. Do you think that the Israeli citizens are like what we call this war that is ranging on Iran?
Listen, if nothing else, I'm very sorry for those who were not asked or did not raise their voices or did not evacuate. Mm-hmm. But until they started, even until the last poll that was taken from the Israelis, they claim that they are still 83% in support, just like they were supporting Gaza. I don't know what you want me to do about that. The reflection of the leader is based on the people. He is a reflection of them, and they are a reflection of him, period. They were given plenty of warning, and I want to make this last point. Do you see all the destruction in Gaza? In Gaza.
We didn't hear anything about it.
You didn't hear anything about Gaza. Did you hear anything about Lebanon?
No.
Anything about Yemen? Anything about Syria? These type of destructions, like you see in Israel today, the way you see Tel Aviv and Haifa and all these places getting bombed, in every of those countries that I mentioned, they killed thousands and thousands upon thousands of civilians. They would tell them in Gaza, they would tell them, go there and get food, and then they bomb them there. They'll tell them over there it's safe. They go and gather, and then they bomb the people there. They bomb hospitals. They bomb mosques. They bomb synagogues. They bomb churches. They bomb hospitals. They killed more journalists in Gaza than any other world conflict.
So we see to receive, we see to receive so many people being killed. But also they claim that we are targeting the enemy. the enemy is in the mix of that is Hamas being within them, threatening them. But you bringing a whole building down and also not having any enemy in it. So just killing civilians.
Let me explain. Israel, all these different institutions, Israel killed intentionally. In the destruction in Israel that you see, no more than 35 people, by their own numbers, are claimed dead from that. That is a most moral example of a military. Otherwise, I don't know what is. In the Israeli infrastructure, they have eliminated so many. In fact, their own stock market, they crashed it in Israel. Okay? Despite that, you have no more than 30 deaths. And the reason for those deaths, majority of them stayed in bunkers, thinking that they were safe. But the explosion was too loud, and so they cried themselves to death. Yeah. But imagine that. If you look into how Israel killed in Gaza, they killed over 50, 60,000 people. A lot of people are still not discovered. Women, children, elderly, sick. They killed everybody. You shouldn't bet? Yeah.
Or building
Yes.
collapse.
The whole, well, they decimated it. An unlivable place. 55,000 is the number, but it's way more than that. And again, most women and children.
But then, what is international journalism also doing about? Because
They're not allowed.
They are not allowed.
They're not
So-
allowed in Gaza, and they're being cut off now from Israel because Israel does not want them to see the destruction. But it's too late.
But so many of the international lawyers, like Natasha, was interviewed by Piers Morgan. He said that we are looking for their safety. We are looking for the safety of journalism. That's why we didn't want allow journalists to be in the mix of reporting. What we call
Listen,
it.
I don't want to quote liars, okay? I have my own motto. It's called Operation Stop Lying. And I don't want to mention any names, but if you look in the Quran and you understand, unfortunately, the Quran does not lie. The Quran is telling the truth. The mentality of the Zionists, the white supremacists, is what the Quran says. They're very arrogant and they think they can get away with fabrication. It's not correct. So now the world is seeing, and we're thankful because I declared, along with the People's Republic of the Shahada in the United States in 2023, that we would stand for Operation Stop Lying. And we're glad that majority of Americans are up in arms. I mean, they hate the fact that the U.S. did that conduct yesterday. But there's a few secrets. If I'm allowed, I'll talk about it. But I think I've said enough. I appreciate the time that you've given me, and I've exhausted it. But I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was a professor. And also, but before we end this program, why not we go into a global economic impact of the Iran, Israel, and the U.S. war June 2025? Let's look on the oil price spike. That is Strait of Hormuz. Iran also threatened that it will block what we call the Strait of Hormuz. But then we see that the American warships are just within the coast of Hormuz.
Yes. So, and I have to get back to where I started. War is not just about going and killing. Like myself, yourself, a banker or a student, an engineer. We don't just send armies to go fight, right? Who does it? A president, a king. It's always political. There's always some kind of political motivation for consensus of some type of
interest.
Land. There's always land involved. I cannot believe the president of the United States, I'm not going to name it because I have a different name for him. He literally said out of his mouth, when they did Iraq, I told them they should have stayed there and took the oil. So imagine that. They have an agenda to drive prices. It's not unplanned. So you have to realize that when the prices go up, somebody still makes a lot of money.
Somebody makes
a lot of money.
Oil prices surged to $135 to $145 per barrel after U.S. bunker buster strike on Iran nuclear sites, which is the targeted three sites. That is the Fundal and the three site whereby they use what we call uranium to produce. Also, we see that Iranians give a green light to the International Atomic. That is their general, but also Israel refused to give a green light to their nuclear sites.
Correction. Israel refuses to disclose or be part of the organization. that monitors. Israel refuses. Nobody until today knows how much Israel has because the United States has been protecting Israel. Gambia couldn't do it. But why are you going after Iran? Iran is an Islamic legitimate republic, period. Like it, hate it, love it, whatever you like. But they have every right to have whatever they want to have as a sovereign state. Now, they are part of the organization that should come and monitor and they inform them. But listen, they were on the diplomatic track. Why did the United States have to have a scheduled meeting with them about the topic? And before that, they said to the Israelis, go ahead and bomb them. The United States has been complicit in the genocidal action of Israel for over 77 years. It's time for it to end.
How would you put it? Is a genocide? Would you call it a genocide?
Because all of humanitarian organizations that qualify a genocide find it to be a genocide. Go and look it up. They won't admit it. How do you intentionally say that you're going to deprive the people of a strip, which is probably the size less than Serekunda? You're going to deprive them of food. You're going to deprive them of water. You're going to deprive them of shelter. You're going to deprive them of fuel. You intentionally say that. And your own soldiers are committing war crimes, actions of genocide, when you intentionally want to wipe out a population in part or half.
I think that's one of their slogans. Operation just clear everything. Just clean.
Very genocidal. Very genocidal.
Can you tell us more about the 2005 when Israel promised that it withdraw from the Gaza Strip, but then they didn't.
Right. So the Israeli Prime Minister, and I don't want to say names particularly specific because I have different names for them, but the Israeli Prime Minister, Yahoo, I'll call him like a Yahoo. I'll call him. I'll just say his last part. It's been leaked that October 7th was really pioneered by him. Okay? This is something that people need to understand. Why and how? Because he is the one who deliberately funded Hamas because he knew that Hamas was an armed. They refused to negotiate until they were recognized as an armed resistance. And he said, since the PLO is completely opposite from that, we'll keep them separate. It's called divide and conquer. And since Hamas is in charge of Gaza, we can go in Gaza and fight them and just take it over. The plan failed because you are failing in Gaza. Hamas still exists. The hostages are still there. You haven't gotten anything anyway other than proving how genocidal you are.
But sir, if you call Israel attack on Gaza to be a genocide, why the October 7th would we call that also a genocide?
The October 7th would not be called a genocide. And as a matter of fact, because of what I just said, Netanyahu himself, okay, unless you want to call it a genocide on behalf of Netanyahu, yeah, sure, you can do that. The other thing is, a lot of people who died in the October 7th operation died at the bequest of the Israeli army. They have what is known as the Hannibal Doctrine or Directive. That means instead of allowing there to be any type of attempt to extract the hostage, to extract the people in which they are holding, we're just going to bomb everybody, right? So they bombed them with helicopters, and they bombed them with their own tanks. And IDF forces themselves, IDF soldiers themselves admit that the Hannibal Directive was given. So yeah, genocide on behalf of Netanyahu.
That's very correct. We also see so many videos of Israel and military forces also taking live footages, also striking on key buildings in the Gaza Strip, but also still on the economic inflation. We will be focusing on global shipping, which insurance rate for shippings in the Gulf region are up to 400% since early June.
Well, let's cut it short for a minute here and understand something about where the naval turn took, or where naval became a thing in this conflict. It really would start with Iranian or I don't want to say Iranian, I would say part of the freedom fighting movement, the Houthis, under Abdul Malik al Houthi in Yemen. And what they did was just as the Iranian counterparts, in that sense, I say they're both of Shia doctrine, the Muslims, Shia doctrine, they developed their own ballistic missiles. And they said, we are going to block the Arabian Sea. We're going to block the Red Sea to make sure that the global trade that gets back and forth to Israel, because Israel controls America, Israel controls the world economy. We're going to make sure we give them a tough one there. So, in case no one realized what was happening, because bullies never realize what's happening until they get their own bloody nose. So that's where it's
You
at.
made mention of war is not about exchanging what we call military and also ballistic missile, but also in economic we can have war ties, also controlling what we call stocks and markets, also gaining what we call
My
interest.
friend, my friend, warfare involves all of that. I mentioned that before: economics, social, academia. It also has to do with force, intelligence. All these things are about warfare. But again, there are no winners in war, and the first victim of war is the truth. The first victim of war is the truth. Whenever there's conflict, somebody decided, the truth wasn't good enough, so, and it shows time and time again.
But we have allies from these different countries. But then are these allies ready for a peace agree or peace deal?
I'm sorry, allies of who? Who's allies?
Both countries, both nations have allies.
Obviously. But the aggressor's allies, I mean, we see how they did. We're going to have a talk on Saturday and you bomb them on Friday. We know how they
Yeah,
do.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
No, it's too much. Operation Stop Lying goes hand in hand with Operation True Promise 3. Yes. Operation Stop Lying started in 2023. Operation True Promise just started this 13th.
But Israel call it Iran also moving with a military strategic by as sponsoring Houthis,
I'm
Hamas.
sorry. I'm sorry. Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah, these are organizations. Iran is an entire civilization dating back that far. They've been fighting. Do you know about the Sassanid Empire? The Sassanid Empire was the empire that was during the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Iranians, the Muslims defeated them, and that's how they became Muslims. Since then, they've still been fighting. They've been studying warfare. Warfare is an actual art. It's a science. Israel, this 77-year-old illegitimate state, does not have a chance. Was very sorry. If you take a look at what's going on, I feel bad for them. But they have to stop bombing people.
Atayola also made mention it will also target what we call key military facilities and infrastructure in America, but also Trump threatened that it will also cause what we call a deadly retaliation in return, as he warns Atayola.
Who did that?
American Trump won.
I'm
the
sorry.
Iranian
Okay,
president.
all right. So I don't want to use names. All right, just say the American president. That's good enough. I really mean that. Give me 1 second. Let me explain something here.
enter the war in Iran?
Nobody wants a liar. It doesn't matter how nice you look. None of that matters. How much you have. Nobody really likes a liar because they change too much. And once you're known as a liar, if you are really a Muslim, you would know that is not going to ever do any good for you. But likewise, if you're a Muslim and you know somebody is lying, don't listen to them. Don't take what they're saying seriously, because if you do, you're only in the.
Yes, let's go back. The promises the president of America made mention to its citizens that it will stop the Russian and Ukraine war within 24 hours, which he quietly didn't did. There's no promise, the fulfillment of promise, and also he says that there will be peace between the Gaza Strip and also between Israel and the Gaza administration.
Well, I believe in the revealer of the Quran fully, For sure, I believe in the Quran and I believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he gave it to, and I stand by those who are holding it up. Saudi Arabia needs to get on board. Jordan, Muslim countries, all of you need to get on board. Period. You could have stopped this, but they're your allies, so that you just do what they tell you to do. I'm sorry, that's not.
But Saudi will not quietly agree because we have stealth B-2 bombers also landing at the Pacific, refueling what we call petrol just to launch their attack.
All I'm saying is Saudi, get with the Islam that is standing up for the people, so we stop killing. That's all I'm saying.
So are these really Islamic countries are really on the sides of the
Well, they've
Iranians?
come out and they've condemned at least that much, and I'll have to say that Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar, I believe, they openly condemned, the American assault. So America really should not get any support from them to, go after Iran anyway, or to do anything with Iran. They shouldn't. But we never know, because you really are on the side of America. They might be able to buy you again. I don't know. I can't really say. Allah knows best.
After targeting key military nuclear facilities, America called it a spectacular military success. That it congratulates its warriors that it will address the nation today.
I'm sorry. Time out. Did you say America had warriors?
Like he
Did you
called them
say?
warriors.
Did you say America had warriors?
Like he called them
listen.
warriors.
America has military personnel. None of them are warriors. Bring any of them in here right now. We will teach them why they're not warriors. I'm being serious. It's not a joke. America has not won a war in the past 50 years. America has not won a war, a single war. Not a battle. They won plenty of battles. They haven't won a single war. As a matter of fact, in Vietnam, they won every single battle, but they did not win the war. They bombed everybody. They bombed innocent, but they didn't win the war. And here, Afghanistan is another one. They didn't win Afghanistan. They won some battles. Some battles were not that good for America. There you go.
Yeah, America also is overwhelming the world because they also have their warship around Taiwan, also overwhelming, claiming what we call Taiwan as one of their territories, also sending what we call warship at Hormuz, also sending what we call in their military personnel at the Iranian airspace. You see to see that there is overwhelming.
Have you heard of the word to threaten somebody? Do you know what a threaten is?
Yeah.
You know what America does? It just threatens people with that stuff. But you need to make sure, as Ayatollah Ali Khamenei says, make sure you make your threats to those who can be threatened by them. They call it deterrent. America has all this stuff as deterrent. So if you actually are deterred by it, then it affects you. But if you're not deterred, it's not going to affect you.
The world is crumbling and economy crisis has just escalated, and America is just from losing economic a war between them and China.
I tell you, they're losing a whole lot more than that. But you know what? I have to say this, and I say this respectfully. All these places America has been to and they've bombed. And I was in America when I said this, and people could not believe it, but it's the truth. All these places that they bombed, you know what? The people of those countries, they still love America. Can you imagine? After they bombed your fathers, your forefathers, after you just finished witnessing an entire war, as in the case of Afghanistan, they still want to come to America. If people love you that much, why would you want to bomb them?
But sir, if international humanitarian organization are listening right now, what would you have for them or to tell them?
Worship Allah. Learn how to make money from peace and love instead of from war and violence. It's not worth it. Whatever you reap, you would sow. Wassalam.
Thank you very much. That was our program today on Iran and Israel war, whereby the B-2 bomber has already attacked what we call three nuclear sites. Also claiming Israel targeting what we call the regime leader. Call it.
Okay. I'm not. I was going to. When you're rapping, I don't mean to be rude or anything. I do apologize, but that I'm itching for that. If you want to end it, you can. I don't mind.
Thank you very much, and that was a professional in the mix of